Good evening. Welcome to a very cold and wet southeastern Michigan night. Just when I thought it was going to be springtime, Michigan's weather decided to throw a curveball, and we are at the very edge of a snowstorm. We're not getting snow per se. We're getting ice first, getting sleet first, and then we might get a little bit of snow, probably about an inch or so. But that's it. That's it. But when it falls on ice, yeah, not so much fun, and it makes it very cold. So welcome to the big show. Um, Thanks for coming on in. We are dual streaming, so if you can't make it on Facebook or on YouTube, you can on Facebook. We are broadcasting live also on Facebook inside the Eight Questions with group. I will be putting that down tonight after this show is over with. I got to go fix some things after the show's over with. Uh, 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 See, there's our good friend Anthony Shabbat is in the house. He has 705 subs. He is on his way to 1,000. Awesome, awesome. Oh, and look who else is there. We got ourselves a real celebrity here, YouTube celebrity, and our good friend Trench. Trenchy's here. What's going on, Trench? How are you, sir? Got a couple of powerhouses already in the house, ready for our interview with Rocky Karlage. That's who we're talking with tonight. Rocky Karlage is one of the owners of Ghost Walk Studios, based in Ohio. Uh, hey, there's Lady Valerie. All right, all right, all right. Today will be the day, Lady Valerie. You and I are going to set our date because I need to set our date in stone. I'm running out of time. uh, yes, I need them. Uh, and glad you are here, Valerie. Very much so. Every time I see you, it brings a smile on my face. I know some people see you as the general, but me and the cheetah, we sort of see you as Lady Valerie. Yeah, we sort of like that. Uh, um, uh, 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 sort of like a Brianna Tarth type. There you go. Combination of beauty and deadly intent. Um, yeah, I mentioned that the other day. People asked me, who would you like to interview if you could, for on your Grail list? And I put Gwendolyn Christie as my second person I would love to talk to. So, and she is the actress who played Gwendolyn or Brianna Tarth. And yeah, she's awesome. Let's see. I am doing somewhat okay. I'm a little bit sluggish tonight. I won't deny. I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's the weather coming back being really cold or what have you, but I do seem to be like a half a step behind today. I don't know why. It just is. I shouldn't be, but you know how it goes. Um, so Rocky's going to be here. He is a producer, and he also runs the studio, and he has been a proponent of Ohio filmmaking for quite a while now. And so we're going to talk to him about his journey into the film business. This is always interesting to hear because we've already talked to his partner Victoria, and now we're going to talk to Rocky, and it'll be really cool to see how he sees the movie business too. It could be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to this talk quite a bit. I definitely want to say thank you so much for yesterday. Uh, uh, oh yes, of course, of course, of course. Yes, yes. I will take that into consideration. Um, uh, we are dual streaming in Facebook. So if you're in Facebook and you're watching us from Facebook and you're hearing this in Facebook, when you write down in a comment section, which we really do love, do us a favor and write your name down with it so I can see who is talking to us, so I can say hello. Because on my screen, I only see Facebook user. Um, so we need, so I can say hi to you and acknowledge you. Hey, there's Jimmy Joe. Of course, I should have took that into consideration. That's on me, Valerie. Definitely on me. Yep, yep. I don't know where my brain was. Um, I'm glad you're here, Jimmy Joe. Uh, and glad everybody is here. Share us out if you wish. Rocky will be here. Oh, okay. Oh, Casey's here. Awesome. Thanks, Casey. All right. Yeah, because that's one thing about doing dual streaming. It allows you to do it, but they won't let you see the name of the person who's typing in. I don't know why that is. I'm still learning how that goes. Um, and so as I learn, I will get better. I will become better. Um, So yes, thank you for yesterday too. This has been a really fun week so far. We had a great interview with our good friend Echo Zero on Tuesday, and then we had our first major musician come in yesterday, Jerry Montano, and we had so much fun with him yesterday. That was such a fun interview to do, and I've heard nothing but praise from it. And thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate that. And and there's our guest. And I've been saying this all week. Uh, our guest is in the basement, so you know how it goes here. As soon as they get there, we get them up. Um, so please help me welcome in our good friend Rocky Karlage from Ohio, from Ghost Walk Studios, and he's here to talk about movies, and we're here to listen. All right, let's get going.
Thanks for having me on your show.
Rocky.
Yes.
Oh man, yeah, I'm excited.
Well, man, yeah, it's
I'm,
fun to be on here. Appreciate your waiting for me, and I'm sorry I couldn't make it the last time.
no, not at all. I mean, actually, that worked out really well for all of us because we got to meet Conrad,
Yes.
and that was, that was well worth the reschedule. To tell
Yep.
you the honest to God truth.
Very happy
Um,
that worked out.
wow, yeah, you delivered us a powerhouse, and
Well,
I was sitting there, I was actually sitting there and we're talking to Conrad and going like, man, this is like, I gotta say thank you to Rocky for this because he gave us a really good guess.
actually, Victoria obtained his guest shot, so we'll give
Oh,
her the
okay.
credit.
Um, and everybody's coming in to saying hello. And our friend Valerie he says, welcome, Rocky, and thank you for spending some time with us. Yes, that's a really good sentiment, and I'm going to back that up and say thank you for coming on in.
You're
Um,
welcome, and thank you.
are
I,
you are you getting the weather that we're getting?
I'm not sure what you're getting, but ours is dreary and chilly, and it was hot.
It's been miserable all day,
Yes.
and now we're getting rain.
Yep. That's what
Oh,
we're getting.
okay.
It's supposed to be in the 30s tomorrow. Joy.
Oh, yeah. It was like 56 yesterday, and it was like so nice. It was like a spring. It was actually like it felt like spring. I came out and all I heard was all the animals. I heard the chirping and the birds and everything. I'm like, man, this is way too early for this.
Yeah, it definitely
Uh,
got us going, and we were looking for spring. We actually got 70 here.
yeah, it's winter's over with. We didn't get a winter this year.
No, that we didn't.
No.
But it's back to it tomorrow, so
Uh,
I
uh,
hope it doesn't snow.
yeah, I wish. Well, actually, I'm sort of like mixed emotions about that because it's like, do I want it to snow? Not really, but we need the snow, so it's like yes, because I mean it just feels really really weird not having a winter. Uh, um, so yeah, sorry about this. Like I said, I'm running a half foot behind, but we'll get going right here. So Ohio filmmaking is on fire. We talked to several members of the Ohio film community. Actually, we talked to quite a bit this month. We talked to Jake Jolly. We talked to Victoria. We talked to Debbie Scaletta. Um, it
All great
just
people.
yes, and it's just representing Ohio and the talent and the the rise of it. I've mentioned this before that it seemed like it was more. When you start thinking about making movies, you think of Hollywood first, and then you start thinking New York, then you start thinking Georgia. But honestly, you have to throw in Ohio right there because there's a lot going on.
There is. And thank you for bringing us into that group because they all have money and we're looking to get it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That's right. We're gonna be talking about that because you are a producer. That's your studio head and a producer. So you're the one behind the scenes making things happen. And a lot of times we don't really get, the public really doesn't get to see that. They see the people like, the film director or the talent in front of the camera, but talk to someone from an independent studio, we don't get a whole bunch of that.
No.
And it's always different. It's always a little bit different. Like I know you and Victoria have been partners for a long time, um, but I'm sure it's how you got to your conjunction when you met is different. It's not the same. You
Yeah.
didn't follow the same path you didn't follow the path that she did, and she didn't follow the path you
So
laid.
we had an instant rapport. We started connecting in several areas. And of course, we started in photography. She, the model, and me, the photographer. And we started talking about some fun ideas about film and horror. And I came up with a ghost story, and it's a long story in itself, true ghost story. And I met another person on, I think it was MySpace at the time, Steve Olander, and he became our director of Ghost Walk the Farm. So we all clicked. We got together and started making these films, which none of us had ever planned to do. It wasn't in my thoughts as when I was young. I love movies, of course, especially the old Universal horror movies. But from there, I was a computer geek. That was
Okay.
my profession. And when I
Now,
retired, I got into photography, and that's how I met Victoria.
uh, yeah, I mean the instant rapport and and have the longevity to put out films, because independent filmmaking a lot harder than major studios because major studios you got money and you got crews and you get all that you got everything at your disposal. Independent studios, it's a little bit more difficult,
Well,
and until
it,
you land a good picture, a good movie, and then you'll get hopefully you'll get investors, right?
well, even so, we found out through some great experiences. That's another one to interview Vicky on about distributors. They're not all they say they are. Some
Yeah.
are. I'm not going to malign the industry, but there are a few out there that they just want to take your movie for your name, to use your name, and then they show your picture and you get nothing out of it.
No, that also seems to be yeah, we've talked to directors that have walked through that have gone down that rabbit hole as well. um they given their movie to somebody, and the distributor says that it's going to cost this amount of money, and it's like, you know it's going to cost like $40,000, and so now just to distribute a movie all over. But now it's no longer like that because a lot of there's mom and pop stores are gone. The major brick and mortar stores are not carrying physical media anymore. So when you talk to a distributor, you think it would be a lot less for them to distribute your movie to streaming services. Yet there they are, still saying it's still going to cost you $40,000, and we both know that's not right.
And all the hard work goes on you. They want it to be delivered to them so they don't have to do that work.
Right. Yeah. See, I always felt like a filmmaker should have the right, retain the rights for at least a year after you make a distributing deal. That I think a filmmaker should have a right to look at the books at least once or twice a year to
So that
see
would
where
be
they're
nice.
standing. To me, it's like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you do that? It's
I
like,
think we're also eager to be distributed that sometimes the fine print eludes us, and we're not lawyers. We don't know all that fine print, and obviously that can be come against us. I mean, we want to get a picture back, we'd actually have to pay them to get our own picture back.
Yeah, I see. To me, I think anybody that would distribute now would be it should have that. They should have that built into the contract. Like we retain the right to be able to see how we're doing at least twice a year. That way you could check it up on it every six. You could do it 6 months, and then you could do like 11 months out. And they have to open their books for you and answer your questions about things like.
That'd be nice, Patrick. That's really ideal, and I think your idea should win out.
Yeah, because I mean, why? I mean, if I'm sitting here and I got your movie, because it's supposed to be a team, it's like the more I'm successful as a filmmaker, the more the more and the more it's gonna be, you're gonna profit from that. So you want me to do well. You want to work for me. You want to get out there and get it out there.
Right.
And so the more money that I make as a distributor, I could turn around and sit there and say, listen, I made money off the last movie you gave me, and here's the proof.
Right.
So next time you do roll out something, come to me first, and we'll do this again.
We'll hire you.
It sounds like a fairy tale, but it's common. It's just business sense to do it that way.
That term, common sense. How much do you hear common sense anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not trying to be negative here. It's just that's one of those buzzwords.
Yeah. No, because I've seen like I said, I've seen directors. They've come and told me, certain distributors are like that. They can't even get them on the phone. Like, they haven't been paid yet. They've given the movie out. It's got released. It's been 6 months since it's been released. They can't even call the guy to sit there and see, like, how are we doing? How many units have we sold? I just, that part just blows my mind. Like, how could they do that? It's like, okay, I made an effort to reach you, and you've ignored me. You haven't answered to me. That's fine. I can now distribute my movie to wherever the hell I want to, and don't worry about you because you're not talking to me. But Ohio Film, how long have you been in the filmmaking business?
Oh my God, it's been over 10 years now. And like I said, I never planned to do it. And our first film kind of, you get the bug. Once you do one, you want to do another. And then you want to do another. So that's kind of where we are now. And Victoria's film, Dead Slate, is the one we're developing right now. That's her baby. It's about a serial killer. And we all know that serial killers, slasher killers are popular in a horror genre. And she wanted to do that. And I'm like, okay. And we've been developing that ever since. We do have another film coming out, though. So I don't know if you want to hear about that.
Oh yes, by all means. Before you do that though, sure. We got your first question for you.
Okay.
From Valerie, she wants to know what have been a couple of your favorite movies that your studio has put out. I think we're going to hear about one.
That our studio put out, or just as in general.
It says you have put out.
Well, of course, my first film is always going to be my most enjoyable because it was about a haunted honeymoon, Valerie, and it was about my haunted honeymoon. It's based on a true story to my ex-wife, and our honeymoon was in a haunted house, and a lot of not so fun things happened there.
Now, there was hopefully that did not lead to the wife becoming the ex because she scared.
No, that wasn't the reason.
You wake up the next morning and she's sitting there going like, I love you and everything, but haunted houses are out of, no.
Well, her aunt owned the house, so I could have gone that direction and blamed her.
Yes.
But I didn't. It was we were lucky to get through it. Since then, a psychic friend of mine, Scotty Rourke, said the house was intended to kill me.
Wow.
So that's another deep story.
Yeah. Hi, Echo. How are you? Glad you're here. Feel free to share us out if you wish. So Yes. Another comment from our Facebook side uh, says I heard some distributors put out movies and directors lose money. Yeah, does that happen a lot?
Um, I imagine distributors, it's a gamble. I see their side of it. A lot of movies aren't going to make money, but at the same time, you hope they'll put some promotion into it. And the hard thing is, unless that's in the contract, they're not going to promote your movie. They expect you to promote it. Again, I can see both sides of it.
Um, it just seems harder and harder now for independent films to find. I mean, now it's to the point now where it's a real struggle for them to even, a lot of places now, a lot of shooters, they're not putting out hard copies anymore. Now they're just, now they're streaming distributors. So your movie gets only put on streaming services and not physical release. And to me, that's like 50% of your market, if not more, because, you know,
Correct.
physical media collectors drive the horror market, especially the horror market.
Well, and that's why things keep changing. I once knew how to make DVDs on my own. I'm now relearning that to do both DVDs and Blu-rays of our film because we want the physical media. People ask for it,
Hmm.
and we want to provide that to them.
Yeah, it was funny because I'm sitting there watching Jake Jolly from who put out Clay Zombies, and he was like showing off pictures of Blu-rays that he got, and then he turned around and was like, "Hey, I got Blu-rays," and show the boxes, and then a couple of pictures later, it's like, "I'm sold out. I'm sold out. We sold out," and it's
That's
just like,
great.
yeah, it's like that's independent film, especially independent horror films. um, people will buy it if they can get a hold of it. They will buy it.
In our movie Embrace the Twilight, which we co-produced, I'm sure Victoria talked about that. We co-produced that with our good friend from Mexico, Carlos Dunn, who passed away during the filming.
Yeah.
Um, but that was never put out on physical media, and we want to do that ourselves. It's
Um,
online on Tubi and on Amazon Prime, but that's it.
yeah, it's great because it is out there, and that's a really good thing that it's out there.
Right.
Uh, uh, but a lot of the streamers, it's like you've eliminated half your market, half your viewers, because you don't release anything on physical. And it's like, well, look, we get it. You're not going to put it out in the stores anymore. Like I can't go down to Ohio and walk in a Meyer store or a video store and buy a copy of your movie, but I should be able to at least have a chance to go through you directly, like manufactured on demand. Warner Brothers does that and does that very well, where you can go to their Amazon site and you can go ahead and look at their catalog and then sit there and say, I'm going to buy 2 or 3 of these movies, and then they manufacture them for you and send it out. They
And
don't
we're
have,
into that. There's a
yeah.
distributor in Reno, Nevada that we're looking to work with. So,
Um, So you say you started out as a photographer, but I'm sure you started out. I'm sure your love of media has started way before. Are you a native Ohioan?
yes,
Ohio? Oh, where were you born and raised at?
Cincinnati, Ohio, where I still live. But I didn't stay here my whole life. My parents moved out to a little town called Amelia, Ohio, where I spent most of my life, my adult life too. So
Uh,
let's move back. I remarried, and I'm now living in the western part of Cincinnati.
okay. Um, so were you when you were growing up? What did you do when you were younger? Did you always have the eye toward the arts, or were you?
Maybe I did some drawing. I made models. Remember the old days where you painted car models and put them
Yeah,
together?
yeah. Ravel was my.
Oh yes.
Yeah, yeah. That was my 172 scale World War II airplanes.
Oh, those were great. And
Yeah.
I also made the painted and made the Universal monster movies. Those were my favorite.
Now, was that your very first step forward into I know you say you didn't plan for that to happen, but I'm sure that was something that was crossed your
I'm
mind
sure
when you
it
were young.
helped. Yeah, it's along the way. And one of my being old enough, and I'm no longer a young guy, I was able to meet the Three Stooges, and they inspired me to go on in life and do things that would challenge my creativity. Very nice gentlemen. You don't think about when watching the Three Stooges as gentlemen, but they really were.
Yeah, I heard nothing but nice things about them. I mean, as far as their public goes, they love the public. Maybe among themselves they're a little bit rough, but they did like meeting the public. I mean, and
So
that was
you
I grew up cutting my teeth on the Stooges too.
did you get involved in films yourself, Patrick?
No, actually, I went and got involved in music.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my thing ended up. I became a talent buyer in California,
Wow,
and but and then I started doing this, interviewing a few years back, and I love it. It's a lot of fun. And I feel like I'm on the very the very fringes of the movie because I get to talk to a lot of the movers and shakers, and I think it's a lot of fun. I learn something from everybody I talk to.
that's cool.
Um,
My next movie. Well, I was going to tell you what the movie coming out's going to be. Our
yeah,
editor Debbie Christo. She's working on a film that three different people directed. The first one, I won't mention his name. The second one was our friend Carlos, who passed, and then Steve Olander is the final one, who worked on the farm with us. It's gone through a series of both good and unfortunate things, but it is a sequel to the farm, and
um,
but it's a fictional sequel.
okay.
So
Um,
created characters and a lot of intrigue. So
the other director is before a movie gets out. I've noticed a lot of times where someone will come up to us and they'll mention they have a project going, but they can't talk about it. Um, why is there NDAs in the business?
um, basically, so people don't talk about the film secrets, what's going on in that movie that you don't want anybody to know till they watch it. Be like
Okay,
a Marvel movie where they give away the plot ending before you go to see it, and nobody would go to see it then.
okay. Because I've seen that and it's like I thought that might be the case. Like, yeah, we don't want you to talk about it. I always thought though, when actors and actresses got scripts, I always thought they would get a copy and then they're at the end of the movie or what have you, or end of shooting, they were like supposed to give it to a PA
Well, they
or
do.
what.
Sometimes they keep them, but they have already signed the contract, which also indicates you need to keep it private.
Mm,
So it's the filmmakers' laws, and the unions. If you're involved with the Screen Actors Guild, they require you to keep secrets for the movies too.
you guys have done how many movies has Ghostwalk Studios
We've
released?
been involved in. Well, we have a short film out also called Unbind, so I guess five. So,
That's not bad. I mean, to put that much, put that body of work out there. I mean, I know a lot of studios. Oh, hello, Ant. Let me say hi to the folks in the chat. Mama Four Boys, thank you for coming in. And Ant, glad to see you again. Um, yeah, we are talking to film producer, studio owner Rocky Karlage. Am I saying that right?
it's actually Cartilage, but that
Karlage.
you call me
Okay,
what you
Karlage.
want.
We're talking to Rocky Carlage tonight, um, and learning how a studio head is how they operate. Basically, because it's a lot different. It's a lot different from a producer, and it's a lot different from a director, because you're like the final say. I mean, it's up to you to make sure that producers get what they need and the funding and everything else. You are basically the painter, so to speak, on a movie project.
That's a nice
Nothing
way
gets
to say
done
it.
without you. Um, that's a lot of pressure to have.
It is.
Um, when you were growing up and you were cutting your teeth on watching getting into the horror through Universal Monsters and whatnot. What was your very first experience in the business? Was it through because for your photography?
I imagine it'd be photography because, like I said, I didn't ever dream to write a film or produce a film. And I screenwrite as well. So it's been a real experience learning that and seeing how to do the particular scene changes. And the scripts change while you're filming anyway. That's what most
Yeah.
people don't realize. You read a script that's been published, that's not how the film was done.
Now, yeah. How do you stop that?
How do you
I
stop
mean,
the changes?
yeah. I mean, to me, isn't it cost effective, and isn't it ideal to have a complete script in hand before you roll
Oh,
your
it is. But the thing about it is, in Hollywood, they use different color paper to print the changes. And we haven't adopted that, but we do hand out changes for the particular characters along the way because the director will make a change or the location will make a change that you have to adapt to. And a lot of times, like when I wrote a script for The Farm, Victoria found a farmhouse where we filmed, and that wasn't exactly as the house was written. So we had to make changes on the fly.
uh, yeah, that's just I'm just thinking because every decision like that it affects the whole. Does it affect your budget?
It can. It
Yeah.
in Hollywood that sometimes means tens of thousands of dollars or even hundreds of thousands. But for us little filmmakers, we just absorb that, and sometimes it's just more gas money.
Mm.
We're staying another day on set.
Now, so talk to us about when you got into photography. How did you get into that? What was your
I took pictures all the time when I was in the army, and I just fell in love with it. So,
Oh, okay.
so just decided to make some money with it. Never made a lot, but made some along the way. So, and I
Uh,
still do that for anybody who needs a photographer. I don't do weddings though. Sorry.
oh yeah. What if I think that's a horror movie all in itself,
It
right?
really is. Yeah, trying to keep everybody
I
happy.
truly am surprised. I'm sure they probably made some movies on Lifetime already about crazy wedding photographers. I'm sure. I'm
Definitely.
sure.
And
Um,
having to go back and redo shoots because somebody wants the shot done different. But
yeah, yeah. Me and my wife, we had to go through that too. We had a friend of ours referred somebody to us, and we should have, they're trying to help us out, trying to, he tried to I have a friend of mine. It won't cost you that much, because you pay for it. And sure enough, you get what they say, you get what you pay for. And we got paid,
good memories there, Patrick. I can tell.
yeah. No, I'm very bitter about it, actually.
Sorry.
Yeah, it made me mad. We were, it's like, oh yeah, yeah, we could, I know someone who can take great pictures, this and that, and then we got him back, and it was just dog shit. And I was just like, wow, I wish we would have went with our gut and hired somebody who knew what they were doing.
That is best. And I know weddings are horribly expensive anyway, but it's worth paying a good photographer.
Mm,
Don't use your iPhone.
no, I agree. I heard in there that you were in the army.
Yes.
How long were you in, and where did you serve at?
I was in 2.5 years. I was received orders to Vietnam, but the very same day I received orders to Germany, thank God. And I spent a year in Germany. It was
Yeah.
really nice.
And then you get out, and then you were taking pictures while you're in the
Oh yeah,
service.
just scenery. It was beautiful. I mean, it is a different world in Europe. I mean, until you go there, you can't tell how different it is from the United States. The people were really friendly. I'm not saying Americans aren't; they are, but they just have this natural home way about themselves.
See. Our friend as John is here from Doomsday Crypt. Hello, John. How are you? He's also a fellow podcaster, uh, interviewer, and yeah, great guy. Uh, they launched their new show. He launched a new show yesterday. I'll
Great.
tell you about that off camera and put you guys together. You guys definitely need to meet up. John's terrific. So you got out now. How old were you when you got out of the army?
Oh my God, 21.
So wow. So then did you go to college?
Went to college. It was not my most fun experience. I learned a lot, but yeah, I wouldn't do it again.
Um, why photography? What drew you to that?
Creativity. I mean, it wasn't something where I consciously thought about being creative. I just enjoyed the art of it, and
And so
it was fun.
now you learned to hold. That was probably think about it. I mean, you're taking pictures back then. You were developing your own pictures. So you worked in a dark room and you know, yeah. So that was like in a way, that was like your first segue into filmmaking.
And back then, it was film. It wasn't digital. Digital's made all of it easier.
Yeah, isn't that something? Digital is yes, very yeah, and really has really saved the indie film industry as far as I'm concerned, is the
Yes.
digital camera. I mean, without that, man, I don't think indie film would be nearly in the shape they are in today.
No, there wouldn't be as much, and people like us probably wouldn't have been able to do it. One of the best indie films, you may not have known it was an indie film, was Phantasm.
Uh, with
That was actually an independent production outside Hollywood.
I was gonna say I was thinking about Robert Rodriguez. That's
Robert
probably
Rodriguez also.
yeah. I was thinking about his movie Desperado. Um,
Desperado from Dusk Till Dawn.
yes.
And our special effects artist is a good friend of Robert Rodriguez and worked with him in For Dusk Till Dawn, Alan Tuskus. And I don't know if Victoria told about it, but Alan stars in our latest short called Dead Slate Beginnings.
Now, you said earlier you screenwrite as well. I was not aware of that. Um, now that to me, was that your very first thing that you did as far as you know, because it's a progression, right? You go to the screenwriter, then director, then
Well,
producer.
you have to have a screenplay to start filming because you have to cast from that screenplay. And from our first movie, Victoria was the casting director. So that was a fun experience too. And I wanted to point out and give kudos to Richard Phillips, who starred as the sheriff in that movie. He was a natural. He came into the audition with a toothpick in his mouth, totally in manner as a sheriff, and he nailed it. And occasionally you'll have an actor that just knows coming in what they need to do. Once
I
he came
like
in, there was no
I
other choice.
like I've heard of people coming to auditions dressed as a character. Uh,
Sometimes,
yeah. Does this come across sometimes as and be honest here? I mean, sometimes when it comes to people coming in like that, does it come across as sort of cheesy, or do you actually just, no matter what, you admire the actor for actually taking the chance to doing something?
I admire them being creative. Um, it's hard enough auditioning. It's not a fun thing for a lot of them to do, and they're trying to sell themselves to you. And we admire anybody in the craft. Seriously, it's fun. It's a great way to go. I encourage anybody that wants to act to try it. Just don't automatically think you're going to Hollywood. That's the main thing. I mean, you may be a great actor, but until you try it, you're not going to know for real.
So here's a question I don't think I've ever asked anybody, but I'll ask you.
Oh,
How do you tell actors that they don't have a part?
um, you just have to. I mean, we at least give rejections. Most of the studios, if you don't hear from them, that's it. They know at that point they're used to being rejected.
Do you think, I mean, do you tell them, or do you just like, you don't contact them and they and let
Sometimes
them?
we generally contact them to say they haven't received the part. Now, if it was thousands of actors auditioning, there's no way. But if it's just 100, that's easy enough to do.
That's
Yeah,
really
we're sorry.
actually that's very kind of you to do that, because
Well,
I will talk to a lot of actors and that's how they say they don't hear anything back and they
we
just
hear
sit
that
there.
too.
That's I've always felt that was really cold hearted. It's like at least you could do is let them know, give them a call or send them an email.
Right.
Thank you very much for coming out. We decided to go a different direction.
Well, I believe that's what sets Ghostwatch Studios apart. We do care about the people who work with us or want to work with us. Doesn't always work perfectly, but we do our best.
Sure, sure. Do you is it does casting like is casting like a live theater? Like you had the main star, then you had the understudy there who learns the part as well. So the main star.
Within reason. I will tell you a little secret, and hopefully everybody will go and watch our film Ghost Walk the Farm, our very first film. That movie was played by the actress was played by two different people. The
Oh,
main female character was two different actors.
okay. Because
And
because the first one something happened to her,
something
and she
happened. Yeah, I don't want to disclose what, and
right.
we try to keep those things private, but we had to replace her.
Okay. And so you had like almost like an understudy. Does that is that pretty common for independent film? Because
I think it's more common than most people know, but most of the time, the one that doesn't work out gets fired, and they just refilmed,
oh
but
yeah.
which is a lot more money, a lot more time.
Okay, so let me ask you that because I've never asked that question either. But how do you tell an actor that you pick them, they went through the casting process, audition, whatever, and
Well,
it
I won't say that we had to tell this person; it was mutual.
oh, okay.
So
Is that the only talent you've ever had to let go?
no, not the only one.
So you being a studio head, how do you tell them like that it's not working out, creative differences or what have you?
Well, if it's civil, we'll just tell them, apologize and go from there. It's like we had to make a creative decision, and sometimes it is a creative decision. If somebody just didn't work out in the part, but most of the time, everybody's good because people really want to make a film work. Overall, anybody that comes to your set auditioning, whether it's acting or crew, they want to be there.
Mm,
So, and that's wonderful. You become a little family.
right, right. Yeah, I never asked those questions before because I don't get very many studio heads here as of yet, but I know that
That's
it is,
it's funny. I don't really think of myself as a studio head. It's just weird to hear that.
but yeah, isn't it? But it's cool though at the
Yeah.
same time. It's like,
Well,
yeah, that's
Victoria's
right.
the president. I used to be, but we take turns being president.
Now, how do you guys decide who's gonna run a certain project? Like who's gonna run it? Do you
Well,
guys
like in
talk
the
about
case
it?
of Dead Slate, that's the movie we're developing right now. Victoria came up with the idea with her husband Tony, and she's running it. It's simple as that. We agreed to work together, and that's her baby. I have a
Uh,
mafia film that I'm developing, and that's my baby.
right, right. Now, can your studio being the size that it is, can they handle two co-productions side by side?
Um, it could if we had enough people. We don't at this point. So,
So,
and it's always about the money because they came out early.
right.
Films, like anything, films can't be developed without money, and you have to raise funds to make them happy. Uh,
It
the,
is that is the hardest part of the job, isn't it?
it really is. Fundraising is a nightmare.
Yeah.
And the first film was so low level, The Farm. It actually cost under $3,000, and that was totally out of our pockets. But
Yeah,
can't do
Stoller commenting about about recasting. Uh, yeah, he had to replace Eric Stoltz from Back to the Future after 6 weeks. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I forgot about that. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so can you tell us a little bit about Dead Slates?
Okay. Dead Slate is very intriguing. I will tell you where it's going right now. Horror Hound selected the short film that Victoria put together. The screenwriter's name is Kerry Fleming. He's in DC. He's worked with Victor Miller of Friday the 13th. And it looks like it's going to win some awards. It's been received by Horror Hound. We've been trying to get into Horror Hound film festivals for years, and this one clicked. And that's going to be shown in the spring in Cincinnati. But it's about a serial killer, and we came up with this idea and talking with Tony, the art director, and I that it's going to be a two-faced killer. The mask will show you that one side's of him grinning, the other one's tragedy, like the old Greek horror comedies.
Right, right.
and there's a special reason why he's killing people, and we can't reveal that. That's in the NDA.
Right.
That's
Yeah. Yeah. But here you can share with us. No.
oh sure. I like you,
No,
Patrick. No,
no, no, no. There's only a handful of us here. No.
my
No,
love
we
to everybody.
I love being surprised. I do. I
Yes,
love being surprised.
I will tell you, this is a real surprise. That this is going to be a super big surprise, and we hope it'll lead into a sequel.
That's gotta be a really that seems really prevalent. Speaking of this, it seems really prevalent. We mentioned the NDA, but it doesn't seem to be stopping. Especially for the big studios, it doesn't seem to stop them from their movies being just leaked to death.
If you think about what they're leaking, a lot of times it's intentional.
Yeah, like the
Or the
pictures and stuff like that.
let's get you to go to the theater.
Um, but sometimes though it isn't. I mean, a lot of times it's people, crew members or what have you, they're looking to make some money, and so
Yeah,
they'll bleed it off. I think if you hear the news coming from TMZ, it's it's money. They're
right.
paying for it. They're paying for that information. But you're right. There's sometimes there's a picture leaked from the set of a movie. Yeah, that's straight studio.
Right. You're correct.
Um, so a whorehound. This will be your you said this will be your first time in the convention. Or has Ghostwalk ever been to a convention, set up a booth, or you
Oh yeah,
know?
we've been to other conventions. This is this is a big event for us because it's Horror Hound. They're great people. I've known a couple of them in Cincinnati. They're actually out of Cincinnati. Uh, the Horror Hound magazine was started in Cincinnati and has been here ever since. But just because you know somebody doesn't mean they're going to select your film. So it's really a great event. We've been in quite a few other films. We've won some awards. Our very first convention we went to was Indie Gathering in Cleveland, and we won Best Short Horror Film there for The Farm. Totally a shock to us. We didn't expect it, and that was very cool. And since then, Embrace the Twilight was our co-produced film with Carlos Dunn. It won Best International Feature in India,
Oh,
which which was awesome.
yeah. That's how did the movie end up getting to India?
Well, there's a site called Film Freeway, and they host film conventions where you can enter films all over the world. And I saw those one and read about it and decided to enter the film there. And just thought it'd be nice if the film was shown. It was shown. The audience loved it, and then we won the trophy for best international film.
I'll point out, director Kel Hamahiro has just stepped into the room.
Hi,
Kel is a very fine director. I've interviewed him as well as reviewed his movie Entombed, which is absolutely brilliant movie. And he is asking, great. He's saying, great interview. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Um, uh, uh, he says, "Are you interested in new scripts and concept for feature films? Considering producing it, or are you set with the people you collaborate with now?" Yeah,
Um,
are you? Can you do that? Can you? I mentioned before about you running a project and Victoria running a project, but do you still accept?
yeah,
You
we'll
know,
consider other projects. Yes, I mean, there's no way of knowing we can develop them. I would like to say we could automatically, but again, it gets back to that old bugaboo word, money. Right.
right.
Can the developer bring in money? Can the director bring in money? Is there some connection with another filmmaker that will give a name to it? One of the things we learned the hard way is most distributors look for an A-list actor in the movie. We've not had that yet.
Yeah, that's. I guess that's part of the indie filmmaking too. Is like you try to get yourself a name, which is sort of funny if you think about it, because before you would need to get a name to put on the DVD box to put it out in different stores, distributed. But now that there's less and less places to go with physical media, you would think that having that big name actor would become less important, because you're going to streaming,
but
and
not through distributors.
huh?
Distributors still want that name.
Yeah.
And we do have a former A-list actor, now considered B-list, even though I hate that term. To me, he's still A-list. Marshall Teague is going to be on Dead Slate, and you might remember him from Roadhouse.
Oh yeah, I've been trying to I was trying to get him on here,
Oh,
but
really?
his schedule is really
He's
really rough.
yeah, he's very busy.
Yeah,
Nice guy. He's
I
a super nice guy.
he is. I really wanted them on here. We were talking, and then I just knew his schedule was just swamped. Um, uh, let's see. Oh, got another comment here. Rocky, has there ever been has there been any funny mistake memories that stands out in your mind from being on set? Yeah, what's the funniest thing you
The funniest moment was on the set of The Farm. We were filming. It was a rainy day, and we should have gone out and captured some of the rain on film, which we didn't. And Steve was directing a scene. I don't remember what the scene was, but there was a thunderclap, and that interfered with the audio. So he said, "Cut," and all the lights in the house went out. And we were like, "We didn't know you were that powerful, Steve." It was a coincidence, of course, but it was hilarious because of the timing.
yeah. As far as producing goes, what do you like about it? Have you ever thought about directing your own project?
I'm thinking about directing my mafia movie. It's based on true events in Cincinnati. And most people don't know that the mob was big in Cincinnati before it was big in Vegas. Most of the mafia moved from here to there. But
Yes, yeah.
that was during the days of Jack and Robert Kennedy, and Robert Kennedy ran the mob out of Kentucky, Newport, Kentucky. It was the original Sin City, and now Vegas is Sin City.
Uh, oh, hey, Brene, how are you? How are you? Uh, uh, Rocky, here, I will drop Rocky's, I'll drop that on, what social media link would you like to drop, Rocky? You want to do your Instagram or Facebook?
You can do Linktree, and that has a lot of my social media links on it. So
Right.
it's linktree.com/Rocky, Ohio. You mean to write that down? I'll type it in. Maybe I can type.
Yeah, Renee can go ahead and she can copy it, and then she'll drop the link down for us.
That'll get you to most of my social media.
Jimmy Joe has another question for you. It says, have you ever had anybody on set with no acting skills but was a natural actor? Yes. Is that part of casting? I mean, when you're casting, have you ever casted anybody for their debut?
Yes. She appeared in The Farm. She wasn't an actor, she was a model. I interviewed her. She was actually the second Estella. Stella is the name of the main character in The Farm and in Estella's Revenge. She never had acted before. Even I coached her on set, did a marvelous job. Never had acted before, and we were so impressed with her. And she has one of the best screams in the industry.
And so it was just, yeah, well, there you go. Did she go on to do other films as well?
No other films. She went on to do other things.
Oh,
It's a shame.
oh, okay. Let me go grab this here. Linktree. I thought I
That'll
put
get you to it anyway.
I thought I put your information down in my in my description, but let me see. I tried to do that beforehand, but I might not have gotten it. Yeah, we'll put the information down in the description box. Brene, and welcome back from Arizona. Yeah, that would be that's got to be the fun part for you as well, is to not only to make movies, but discover fresh talent and to develop it. I mean, a lot of studios, they use the same actors over and over,
True.
and it's, and we're really, because what really costs a lot of independent films is the fact that a lot of, you can't really, and it's a shame saying this, but it is the nature of the beast. But a lot of times we do independent films, a lot of the actors or crew, they're not always 100% reliable or dependable.
Correct.
And so when you do develop your own talent, your own core, like, I got a crew here, they can work on this project, they'll come over there and work on this project. It's
Well,
really,
that's true. Even in Hollywood, they do that. You get used to having the same crew members and a team. They want their team.
yeah.
The director of photography wants the same director, and vice versa. And I
Um,
want to point out the director of Dead Slate's going to be a woman because we believe in diversity. And you may have heard of her. Her father founded a music group many years back named the Ventures. Her name
oh,
is Stacey Lane Wilson.
okay. Yeah, I remember the Ventures. Holy shit.
Yeah, her father was Don Wilson of the Ventures, and so she had a great upbringing with that musician family around her, and she makes her own movies too.
And so, yeah, she knows, he knows that she's reliable because
Yes,
she knows, yeah, nice, nice.
yeah.
I love the fact you got Marshall Teague. I'm sitting here thinking about that. I'm thinking, he's actually had a very good career
Right.
after Roadhouse. I mean, and he's appeared in a lot of movies. I tell people that what I know about him. I think he appeared in Walker, Texas Ranger. He appeared as 8 different characters during that series.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
He was a
yeah,
character on Deep Space Nine too.
yeah, yeah. Another question here. Um, Jimmy Joe wants to know. I can't wait to watch The Farm. Where can it be bought?
We're working on that, Jimmy Joe. Unfortunately, it fell out of print, and we're putting a new edition of it out. The 10-year anniversary. It'll be out sometime this year. But
Uh,
we have our film site being restructured, so look for that under ghostwalkfilms.com.
uh,
The site should be up in about a month.
right. Yeah, that's what Victoria mentioned that too about they're revamping the website.
Right,
Uh,
it's there right now, but it's not done.
uh, see, Rocky, here's the question: have you ever recorded over films? Have you ever recorded over films and have to go back and start again? Yeah, how do independent films handle ADR?
Um, we just have to be very careful with backups. It really comes down to we try to make sure we have backups in at least two different spots because I've had 3 hard drives fail me in one day. That was a critical learning lesson that power can destroy your equipment without thinking.
Yeah,
So all my backups went that one day, but unfortunately, I wasn't the only one with backups.
man, that would have been. I mean, having just one go bad would have been bad enough, but to have
But
3,
3,
yeah,
all on
that
the
was.
same power circuit, which and they still had power protection on them, but it didn't matter. A brownout caught them,
Oh, jeez.
killed the computer too. That was not a fun day.
No, no, I'm sure. I don't think anybody would have been around you to
No,
let
I
you.
was screaming.
Yeah. Uh, uh, yeah, yeah, exactly, Jimmy Joe. That's what I was thinking. Going, damn, that would be rough.
It
Uh,
was.
so what's your relationship with fellow filmmakers in Ohio? I talked to Victoria about that, and I said, is it really fierce, competition wise? And she was like, a
I think
little more than you realize.
there's friendly competition. I think we when somebody succeeds, we're happy for that. I mean, I've only worked with one other filmmaker in Ohio, and it was mostly fun experience. I was assistant camera and grip on that set. So you learn to do everything when you're an independent filmmaker, which is really cool because if you went into a professional set, you'd be allowed to do one job and that's it. But an independent film, you're needed in many places. So I'm just
I'm,
as happy being a production assistant as I am producer.
I'm actually sort of surprised now that we're talking to you. Though I'm sure you'll tell me that you have done this. So I'm thinking to myself, wouldn't you have been a natural cinematographer? Have you ever shot a movie?
I haven't shot a movie yet. Yet.
Yeah, yeah.
I have shot with camera, and I plan to shoot second camera on my mob film, but that won't be the main camera. There's a certain level of trust. I don't trust myself to do the main camera.
Okay.
I mean,
Well,
I'm fine with
at
second.
least you're honest. I mean, you're honest.
Well, thank you. I try to be.
Uh, let's see. It had to be the GPU overloaded. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, that happened too. I know the feeling of having something my hard drive couldn't handle. Blew up his PC.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
everybody's feeling bad for you about that.
I'm sorry
Yeah.
everybody goes through that. So I feel for you.
Um, do you? That's another great question, Kel. It says, is your studio? Are you looking for just for specific genres? I mean, if I walked in with say a drama, is that something that you would seriously consider, or do you want to just stick to maybe mostly horror or thrillers?
We don't have one particular genre. Obviously, we've made our name with horror. The mob film isn't horror, even though you could say mobsters killing each other. That's a certain type of horror.
Definitely.
Yeah, we're open to different genres.
That's cool. I like that. How many scripts do people and when you go to conventions or premieres or festivals, how many people ever approach you? Do you get overwhelmed by that sometimes by people coming up to you and knowing that you and Victoria are studio owners and they try to give you scripts?
Not really. Most people that we've met are respectful at conventions, and because you have a lot of different talent there, some that are well known and some lesser known, like us. Um, Two of our dear friends are Philip and Christopher Booth, and they're ghost hunters. They've done a lot of movies, and they've been distributed with Sony Pictures. And we're looking at Philip being our director of photography on Dead Slate. So he's a really good cinematographer.
Here, let me just do this. I'm gonna go ahead and drop him right now.
Who are we dropping?
I'm gonna drop your links. I'm gonna
Ah,
drop yeah, I'm gonna
okay.
drop your Instagram here. There's your link tree, and then I'll just go
Yeah,
ahead.
I still do photography as well. So if anybody needs photography around Greater Cincinnati, I'm available,
Except for weddings.
except for weddings. Now, if you had enough money, we'll talk.
There is the link tree right there. You can go ahead and slide on over there. There's all of Rocky's links are right there. Yeah, check that out and give him a follow on Instagram and any other of his social media sites.
And
Uh,
I'm open to questions. I don't believe in having a huge ego. I like people, and sometimes you out of the blue you find somebody you like to work with, you know, which is great.
Now, how do you handle it? I mean, I guess you don't handle the ego. It's just like if someone comes onto the set, how is it considered like you come onto the set and you have or how about this? Let me ask you this: have you ever had a day yourself when you walked on set and you've been grumpy and someone had to take you aside to chill you down?
Well, yeah, Victoria does that when I was ready to quit, and vice versa.
Oh,
We both had our moments.
is there at least one quitting moment per project?
Maybe. I'm
Yeah.
not sure of that. I know one project, Estella's Revenge, which is finally going to be coming out. I probably had about 50 of them.
Oh, what's the thing that really what's the number
People
one thing that
people
frustrates
lying,
you as a studio head?
people lying to you is the number one bad. It's just like just be honest. That's all. We don't care if you screwed something up. I mean, yeah, it sucks that you have to refilm something, but just admit it.
Oh, yes, yes. I guess they get nervous, right? Like, no one should ever be afraid to making a mistake.
No, no, because some of the biggest films, some of the most fun scenes were mistakes.
Yeah.
My classic memory on that and reading about it was Harrison Ford and Indiana Jones. The whip scene was totally his improvisation. That wasn't what he was supposed to do, but they
Yeah.
kept it because everybody loved it.
Yeah. That's right. I remember that. I remember hearing that story. And every time you see yeah, mistake in a film, and you just wonder, when it slips through, and I know that producers are the hardest people on themselves. I listened to Bill Lawrence. He did his commentary on Scrubs, and oh my God, he was pointing out all the mistakes that when we watched it, we would never know. But when he did commentary, he would point out the different mistakes, and then after he did, then you could see them. And I was thinking to myself, going like, why even bother saying anything? Nobody else. If nobody else noticed, why
Right.
why beat yourself up? Um,
I want to recommend a book, if I may, for filmmakers out there. Did I lose you?
no, no, I'm right here.
Okay. For some reason it went blank there for a moment. It's called True Indie. It's by the creator of Phantasm. His name Don Coscarelli. It's a great book.
That's a really good franchise. That you're right. That's a really good franchise. Doesn't get talked about enough anymore. It's sort of slid out of the public's eye, but
It's,
I really really enjoyed those. I mean, they were really actually the first Phantasm scared the shit out of me.
yeah.
Um, as a rare film that does that. So I always have a love affair with Phantasm because it scared me. Uh,
I
let's see.
lost your I lost your window somehow when I was searching there.
Oh, can you see me now?
No, I don't see you. I'm not sure what happened. You still see me?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Well, we'll go with that.
Uh, yeah, I, yeah, I see you perfectly. I've got more questions here.
Okay.
Wow, people are really asking you a lot of questions. This is really good.
Well, my
Thank
thanks
you
to
guys for
everybody.
asking questions. I mean, we don't get this sort of level very often. A studio head in here very often, so it's very it's a rare thing. I'm so happy to get it.
Well, thank you
Um,
so much for saying that. That's great.
uh, Says Rocky, have you ever made a movie that the more oh yeah, that's another good one.
Right.
Have you ever made a movie that the more you got into the movie, the more you hated it? Have you ever taken on a project where you just wish you hadn't done it?
That was weird.
Oh, there we go.
No, not hated. Like as I mentioned, the movie Embrace the Twilight. My dear friend Carlos Dunn, who passed away, we would talk for hours on the phone, and he wanted to film the entire book. Well, the movie turned out unedited. Tony Barton, who'd never done editing before, took on the challenge to edit it. We had 16 terabytes of digital film, and that equated to almost 4 hours of movie. But what I had told him all along is it should be two movies, and he was adamant it was going to be one. Well, it wasn't. It came out as one, but it should have been two. And it wasn't anger or not saying sad that I was part of it. It just I wanted it to be broken up because it could have been, and more could have been shown at that point. Are you still there?
Yes, yes,
I
yeah.
can't see you, so I don't. I think because I tried reopening the window, that's what that sound was.
Oh, okay, okay.
So I
Um,
just have to do with not seeing you, Patrick. I'm sorry.
do you want to? You know what you can do? You can step back out and then try to come back in. That's fine.
Okay, well, let me see if I can do that for you.
Okay. Thank you guys for coming in and sending us some great questions. Rocky's going to be back here in a second. Yeah, this is interesting because we don't get this sort of we don't get this level we get actors and directors and producers, but studio heads, they have a whole different skill set. Without them, we don't get them. We don't get them made. So I'm really grateful for this interview. Yeah, it did sound like a ghost, Star-Lord. You're right.
It did.
Uh,
I could
I
give you
mean,
some ghost stories, but we'll save those for another day. One of
uh,
the things you don't know about me is there's a little ghost squirrel that's been attached to me most of my life.
a little what?
Little ghost squirrel. And now,
Oh,
now, now you
so
bring up,
paranormal. You really believe in the paranormal?
yes, I do.
Yeah, I do too.
I've
Um,
experienced it, so I know it's true.
yes, yeah. I've had experiences too. It's very different, isn't it?
It really
Um,
is, and there's both good and bad in it, like in anything.
mm-hmm. Let's see. Stop, stop opening the Ark of the Covenant. Rocky, leave that Ohio ghost over there.
That's funny. Who said that?
I think that was Jimmy Joe said that. That's hilarious.
I like it, Jimmy Joe. Thank you.
Yeah. That's
I don't
uh
have that power.
let's talk a little bit about that. That's something I didn't know about. So if you don't mind talking about that,
No, not at all.
what was the tell us a little bit about like, are you superstitious? Do you have anything that you do before the start of every project that you do?
No, no, I'm not like a baseball player.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, I know they have their routines, and I guess they all teach each other that. No, no, not superstition. Just a strong belief in what I see as real and what I've experienced as real. But like I said, my first film, Just Walk the Farm, that's based on real events. Um, Definitely, the house was haunted. Definitely, there was an evil presence,
Mm.
which I will not get into here. We're hoping to film a movie called Lily's Cry. It's about the real little girl, and it has run into roadblocks for the last 10 years. And there's a reason it keeps running into roadblocks because there's a dark spirit that doesn't want that told. We still haven't found a way to stop that spirit, but we're working on it.
Yeah, it does some films do seem to be hit by forces, doesn't it? I mean, there's
Well,
been
Poltergeist obviously was.
yeah,
That was the
yeah.
stupidity on that one.
There was another gentleman who comes in once in a while. Gizmo comes in. He's also a director as well. Rainier, and he made a movie called Christmas Blood, and oh, just I think there was like 6 or 7 people that passed away that were attached to that project.
Oh my God, that's
It was,
horrible.
hell, it was sad as hell when he's talking about it. Um, so do you do anything? So how do you rally a crew when if things are really tough for you, like right? And then I'll do it back to the paranormal because I am interested in that. How do you is that a responsibility of a studio head, or
Uh,
or to rally the troops? Let's say everybody's dragging ass.
well,
Is
there
that
is
the
a
director's
producer.
fault? I mean, is it a director's job or your job?
I think it's kind of all of the above. The people that are in charge on a film set tend to do the rallying. Ultimately, it's the producer that's on set, and that in Hollywood, that's called the line producer because the line producer makes sure everybody shows up. We didn't never use that term in the beginning because we honestly didn't know what it was. It's been a real learning experience to learn everything they do in Hollywood, and I still don't know everything. Um, but line producers are the ones that make sure everybody does what they're supposed to do, including paying them when the film is over.
Yeah, that's interesting too. Now, do you do if I'm allowed to ask you this because I'm interested, obviously. Now, when people get on set of making a film, how do they get paid? Do they get paid after the movie's shot in the can, or do they get paid during the week, or
It's
do they get
up
paid
to
in
the
advance?
agreement. Some films, like in early films, were totally you weren't paid. I mean, honestly, it was just you got a screen credit. That was your pay, and we would feed everybody and pay for their gas. So that was the payment in itself for those films. When you're young and independent, you're working mainly with volunteers, and you're not working with a union because the union requires certain levels of pay and certain things paid into their retirement. That's for a full time actor. People that are starting out aren't full time actors or full time crew. So I know a lot of people don't like to hear that, but most independent film companies can't pay what everybody thinks they should.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I see that sometimes in different movie groups. You know, I'll see someone they'll be doing a short film, and then they'll say, come on out, I need, such and such crew for a short film, and I don't have any money, but they'll sit there and say, you'll get a credit, on an IMDb or whatnot. Uh, I feel, to be honest, I mean, this could be being naive, but I just feel like this. It's like if you're learning how to shoot a film and you're making a short film, you got to learn how to budget that, because that's going to factor into anything you go. You want to become a filmmaker, you have to factor in the budget.
We have to learn, Patrick.
Yeah.
If you haven't gone to film school, which most people in the world can't, um, you're going to have to learn somewhere if you want to do it. And sometimes it's a trade off. And that's what it's been for us. We have a lot of people that want to work in the films and they voluntarily come to the auditions or for our crew ads and volunteer for what crew we need. And when it's not us doing it, we rely on them, and we've been very successful that way.
How many volunteers do you accept for on, or do you call them interns? How many do you accept per project? Do you Victoria? Do you do
There's no
you
set
on
number.
the
You'll have your script right, your script reviewer. You'll have your production assistants, which many of them are. Sometimes actors are production assistants too. So
Oh, good.
there's no set number to that, just as you need it.
Um, Tranchy wants to know also, has your paranormal experiences changed the way you watch movies about the paranormal and how you enjoy them? Yeah, do you that's a good question too.
That is
What do
good.
you think of most ghost stories?
I love ghost stories. There's been some great ones done by Hollywood. The Uninvited is one of the ones I highly recommend. Some stories that are suspenseful are much more fun than an actual ghost story that's filmed. When they make the ghost automatically evil, I think they're making a big mistake. Yeah, there are dark spirits out there. I mean, most people that are in the paranormal know that, but that doesn't mean that every ghost should be branded evil in a movie. Matter of fact, Lily Rose is what I named her, the little girl spirit around me. She's as sweet as can be.
Do you
And
still have contact with her?
I'm sorry, what was that?
You still have contact with her?
I still have contact with her.
Wow.
Yeah, that's been since I was a kid.
About 10 or 11?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah.
About when I first saw her.
Yeah. It's that's about the age that poltergeists manifest themselves to children. Um, let's see. I love a good ghost story, celebrity ghost stories. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of people that a lot of actors that believe in the paranormal. It's not unusual to for
Sometimes
that.
they appear on sets.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
you
well, sometimes you got gremlins too, right?
I've not found a gremlin yet. Hopefully I don't.
Uh, I mean, what can go wrong will go wrong, or what will
Oh,
go
that's
wrong
true.
will go. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
batteries run down too quick. That's one of the biggest problems with digital film. We rely on those modern batteries and they don't always hold their power.
um, do you like going on? Do you like being on location, or do you go on location for every film, or do you like relaxing in the office and operating from there?
Depends on what I'm doing at the time. As a producer, I can do both, but there always needs to be somebody out in the field on location. So now, obviously, you need the director and director of photography on location for every film.
Um,
Producer doesn't always have to be there.
okay, okay. You mentioned earlier about Cincinnati, having Ohio having friendly competitions, or
Yeah,
it's have you ever collaborated with another studio? Because
Yeah,
some indie films, when they roll their opening credits, there'll be like five different studios, five different
all
companies.
five different studios. Well, Embrace the Twilight, that's two different studios. It was Vampires to Films. That was my buddy's film company, and our film studio, Ghostwatch Studios. So when that film opens, you'll see both of our credits.
Right.
We have
Is
another
it easy to collaborate like with another studio?
one. It's all personal. It's up to the individual, filmmaker. Most filmmakers I've talked to or met are just really nice people, and I think it probably is easy, but you're going to get in those circumstances where people rub each other the wrong way.
Yeah,
So,
sometimes have you ever had a collaboration that not work out, like, like, again, creative differences,
well,
or
we had a director we didn't work out with, and we've had some other people in the film industry who lied to us. So people, for some reason, they just want the credits. Sometimes they don't want to do the work, and we're happy to give credits, but please do the work.
right.
As simple as that.
No, exactly. Um, yeah, unfortunately, there are a lot of scammers out there, in Hollywood and what have you. They talk big game, but they don't produce at all. Um, let's see. Have you ever? No, I'll ask him that, but I don't think that's been ever been the case. But we'll find out.
Okay.
Um, what's the worst natural weather that disaster that you've had to shoot in? Jimmy Joe wants to know if you ever shot a movie in the middle of an earthquake.
No,
Ohio doesn't get earthquakes.
it does, but they're very rare.
Very rare. I think I've been in Michigan for over 20 years. I've only felt two.
My
Uh,
my wife and I had our back porch cracked once by an earthquake. As
oh,
far as
really?
shooting, no. Thunderstorms would probably be the worst.
Yeah, I've heard about those. I've seen productions get shot down over
Right.
the weather. It's been too nasty. Um, yeah, that's yeah. What's the worst weather you've ever shot in?
The thunderstorm.
Yeah, yeah, that's gotta be that's
We had,
crazy.
we had to curtail the outdoor shoot for that. But you just make it another day.
Um, let's see. Let me see. Someone mentioned. Okay, want to make sure I didn't. Okay, yeah, I asked that question. Okay. Uh, yeah, that's the thing about the paranormal aspect of things. Um, I know a lot of productions. And do you do this? Do you have like a priest to come out there and bless your set before you shoot?
No, but I think we'll do that in the future.
Yeah. Uh,
Just
so
because we had some experiences that were very dark and negative.
yeah, it can weigh down on things, can it?
It can.
Um, as far as Ohio goes, why do you think Ohio is suddenly, like, to me, it's not that far behind Georgia as far as creating memorable projects. Why do you think Ohio? I mean, I know there's other states that have tax incentives, but why do you think Ohio has suddenly just blossomed?
Um, I don't know the answer to that. I just know there's a lot of interested people in Ohio, a lot of great talent. I mean, there's so many good actors and good film people in this state. And, obviously Pennsylvania, Indiana, and Kentucky are nearby. Um, it just is, Patrick. I don't know why. God put us here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's been amazing. It's been amazing. I mean, I've just noticed it over and over and over that
Marvel
people.
shoots in Cleveland a lot too. They love the look of Cleveland and shooting some of their film scenes.
Um, yeah, I mean, that's what Conrad was there, and he mentioned that too. It's based in Cleveland, and he's mentioning how it's really thriving there.
It
Have
is.
you ever done that? What him and I talked about the 48, making a film and doing the 48 hours.
No,
Uh,
we've not done the 48. We've done a short film contest, and that was our little film called Unbind. Matter of fact, you can watch Unbind free from my links. That was a fun experience. I wrote the script for that. It was
Uh,
it's about a demon in a house and these ghost hunters that come in, and it's kind of funny, kind of tragic.
uh, you are fascinated with horror and the paranormal. With that's generally your wheelhouse. So, what led you to try your hand at a mafia story? Was it sort of
Um,
like express your creativity? Was it trying to get away from from the darkness a little bit?
I had some gangsters in my family.
Oh, okay.
My aunt was married to a twin gangster, and they did some things. I don't know if you've ever heard the name George Remus, but
No.
George Remus he was known as the king of the bootleggers, and he lived in Cincinnati. And both a lawyer and a pharmacist, and he found out how to beat the government during the bootlegging era. So
Wow. Yeah.
my uncles worked for him.
That's the only thing I ever saw something like that. I saw that a little bit about Boardwalk Empire.
Well,
That
that's a
was
great series. Highly recommend that to anybody. It's one of the best done miniseries ever.
I think Steve Buscemi was
Oh,
he played a real person.
he's incredible. Yeah, he played a real person.
Yeah.
Uh, I would love to be able to make a series like that. That's so well done.
Let's see. Cal asks you another question. It says, "How long would a shooting period typically be for a feature film produced by Ghost Walk Studios? What what is a shoot time per project?"
Ideally, you want to set it up so you can film every day with it being independent and your crew generally working through the week. Sometimes it can take 2 to 3 months. But if you can do a shoot where everybody can show up, it should take 10 days to a couple of weeks for a feature. It just doesn't work out that way, unfortunately.
Now, do you build in extra days for pickups?
Yes, you have to build in for pickup because something's going to, when you go through your dailies, you're going to find something didn't come out right or something wasn't spoken right. And if everybody's still on set, it's easier to go reshoot it.
Um, how do you pick the scores for your music for your movies?
Friends, friends, friends who
Wow.
want to be in film. And, it's great when people want to work with you. And it's really rewarding when they do a great job. You meet a lot of people when you're in the film industry who just turn out to be great people and want to work together.
Uh, have you ever have has any of the actors you worked with on any of your films have they broken out, so to speak? Have they gone on to bigger and better things?
Um, Logan Shepard, who starred in Embrace the Twilight, is starting to pick up some films out in Hollywood. Nothing major yet, but I'm hopeful for him because he's a really good actor and a nice guy.
That would be really cool though to be able to, discover a talent like that and then you watch them just watch them become well known. I mean, it would be that I would think as a producer or a director or head, that'd be a lot of fun to do, to develop talent like that. Um,
Especially when they're sincere people, such as he is, and many or more are, and they just really want to work with you and help you, and they love what they're doing. You can tell when somebody loves what they're doing; their eyes gleam.
mm. Okay. Real quick. It's so strange he had a dream of a spirit box. Oh, do you have memorabilia like the Warrens from The Conjuring? Do you have a paranormal paraphernalia in your home? Do you collect it?
No, no. Matter of fact, unfortunately, the haunted house where I spent my haunted honeymoon, no longer exists.
Oh, they tore it down.
Yeah,
That must have been. Was that a relief when you heard about that, or were
I
you
don't
critical?
know. I went back and found out later because I was looking for it.
Okay, okay.
And
Well,
the house where the little girl lived, that she was obviously in Amelia. That's how she came across me. Um, don't know where that was. Kind of know, but don't know exactly. It was a farmhouse, so no memorabilia.
um, okay, last rounds for questions for our guest, Rocky Carlage. If you guys have last round of questions, because our time is coming up, but I want to let you guys have some more. You guys have actually asked a lot of good questions tonight. This is really,
Oh yeah, I'm really happy.
They were waiting for you. I normally don't get this many questions, so I'm really tickled by this. This is
Well,
great.
thank you to all your fans. I really appreciate being here and here, taking your questions. It's fun.
Yeah, it's been a really fun time talking to you. I've really enjoyed it. You've answered everything, and
How
I'm
do you know,
excited to see.
how
I'm
do you know I'm
excited.
not lying, Patrick?
Uh, I really am. I'm really excited to see what's coming down the pike. That's for sure. Um,
If
you know,
anybody wants to work with us, I can't guarantee we'd be open, but you're welcome to contact me through social media.
yeah. So if you ever want, if you're in the Ohio area, and maybe you want to get in there, maybe cut your teeth, maybe do some background work, or come out and maybe do some crew. What a great way! What a great way to do that. I mean, come on in there and even if you don't have any experience, that's where you gain experience,
I
right?
didn't have any. We won a best film for our first film. Had no experience. None of us did.
So I mean, I know I've seen people experience that. You know, they'll sit there and say, "How do I get into the business?" It's like find a production, volunteer. Say, I'll if you need someone, you need a gopher, I'll do it. You need,
Exactly.
want someone to scout locations, I'll drive the person around. Or need someone to help me. You need someone to help lighting. Pack away their gear. I'm your guy.
We always
And
need grips to move lights and stands around.
that's how I got my start in music. I ended up breaking down. I ended up breaking down sound stages. Uh,
Okay, sure.
yep. Uh, Kel has another question. If you ideally shoot a feature film in 10 to 14 days, would you prefer producing scripts with few locations as movie in between locations is very time consuming?
Correct.
Yeah. Do you limit yourself to location shooting? Do you like
That,
doing just like
that's
one or
important.
two locations?
When you write a script, you have to be careful not to do too many locations. One of the problems we had with Embrace the Twilight was it was so many locations that the filming took a long time because everybody has to move to those locations. And unless you have two crews going at the same time, everybody has to go over to the next location.
And that doesn't really happen in indie productions, does
Not
it?
much.
Yeah. So it's got to be very, very tight. And do you like to shoot in chronological order, or do you totally leave that up to the?
No, no. I mean, it varies. When we first started, we did, but you learn along the way. It's best to get everything in that one location before going to the next. And sometimes a location is just going from inside the house to the outside. So that's two locations.
Okay. Do you tend to use your own personal homes or the studio itself for
Now
a lot of your locations?
we use different houses, bed and breakfasts, wherever it seems to fit. Stella's Revenge and part of Embrace the Twilight were both done up in Medina, Ohio, at a bed and breakfast.
And then
Spitzer Bed and Breakfast. If anybody wants to stay there, it's also haunted.
Ohio has a lot of haunted areas.
Yes, we do.
I was thinking of that Mansfield prison where Debbie was shooting her film.
Right.
I was thinking that would probably have a ton of ghosts on it.
Never been there, but I've heard it does.
Man, I was like that prison looked wicked, and then found out that's the prison they used for Shawshank Redemption and some other ones. I was like,
Great,
damn,
great movie.
that movie's got to be that location's got to be haunted.
That is.
Uh, Rocky, lots of respect from Ireland. You have a heart of gold. Thank you so much for saying
Thank
that,
you.
Jimmy
I
Joe.
love Ireland. I'm part Irish.
Uh, uh, Star Lord says that would be a dream come true for me. Well, if you're in Ohio, Star Lord, find Rocky through his socials, and
And also, so just a reminder, Horror Hound Spring Festival is in Sharonville, Ohio, which is part of Cincinnati. That's in March of this year. If anybody
right.
is doing, and also one of the greats is going to be there, Bruce Campbell.
Oh, okay,
Bubba,
man. I would like to meet Bruce. I would like to talk to him. He'd be fun. He'd be a fun person to talk to.
I would love to meet him myself. We
Yeah.
have a role for him.
Uh, oh, you know what? He probably would listen too.
Another one of my favorites, and want to give a shout out if she listens, Eileen Dietz. She starred in The Exorcist as the stand in for the girl.
for Linda Blair. Yes,
Yes.
that's right.
Yeah. And
Uh,
she also was the face of Pazuzu the demon in the movie.
that movie still holds up today. It still holds up. It's still a scary ass movie. It's a really scary movie.
And they're making a series on
I,
TV for
I don't know. I have no faith in that. None. I
it.
don't. I don't know. I don't know. I just think that. I think when I watched The Exorcist, what I really liked about it, it comes across almost like a documentary.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It really does. It takes it takes the material really seriously, and it comes across almost like a documentary, which is really sort of even more chilling once you start really thinking about it. Like it's like this happens. Things like this happen. We don't know how they happen. We just do. We missed the signs, like people have missed the signs. What Regan got for does anybody know? That's a great trivia question. It's like, does anybody know when Regan got possessed? Does anybody know how she got possessed?
No, but I do know it wasn't a girl. It was actually a boy that the story was based on. And our friends, the Booth brothers, did a story about the real boy.
Um, yeah, oh yeah, and he probably did what she did to invite it, and even though she didn't mean to, um, or he didn't mean to, it still happens that way.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, I love the music by Mike Oldfield. Yes,
Oh,
yep.
yes, that was great.
Uh, yeah. Oh, well, our time is up. I want to say thank you so much, Rocky, for coming out and hanging out with us,
Thank
talking
you,
about
everybody. I'm
those
really
Rocky
happy you
videos.
attended.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you so much. I had so much fun with you and Victoria. A shout out to her as well. And also got a shout out to Conrad and Jake and Debbie. I mean, so
Right.
many different fun Ohio. The talent in Ohio is amazing.
Well,
Thank
maybe
you,
we can
Cal.
get
Thank
Eileen on here for you. Eileen Dietz. She can talk
I
about
would
the Exorcist.
I would love to talk to Eileen. Let's talk about that off camera for sure. I'd love to have her on the show.
She's a
Uh,
sweetheart. Such a sweet lady.
I'd like to get Marshall back if I can. Marshall, come back. Let's talk. Because I'm a huge Roadhouse fan,
Oh
huge,
yeah,
and,
he was.
and Walk and Walker Texas Ranger.
Yeah, he's a
Uh,
great actor.
he is. He really is. Uh, when I read that about how he played 8 different roles on Walker, I was like, that's insane. That's awesome. That's actually really awesome.
And one
Um,
last thing, Patrick, we have an X Files connection. Dean Haglund from the X Files is going to be in Dead Slate.
oh, really?
He played Ringo.
Yes, yes. He did the gunman, the lone gunman,
Yes, he was one of
uh,
them.
X Files and Millennium.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And his
Uh,
his partner Phil is going to be in the movie too.
that'll be fun. What a great movie. When do you plan on starting shooting?
Oh my
Or do you?
God, we have a few surprises there, but I'm starting to look like it's going to be next year.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
just again getting the money together because this is going to take a lot of money because it needs to be a union film.
yeah. Victoria told me the number.
Yeah,
I was like,
it's great.
wow, like, that's hard. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think you guys can do it. I fully believe you can.
And if anybody wants us to entertain something, feel free to reach out to me, or if you think you can help in some way, we'd be happy to hear that.
Do you have? Are you doing crowdfunding for the movie?
We're going to. We just haven't set that up yet. We're
Let
working on
me
a
know.
new budget.
Yeah,
We have
let
to,
me know when that happens so we can talk about it.
and I suggest getting our art director on your show too, Tony Varden, Victoria's husband.
I will talk to anybody who will talk to me. I'm looking over here. I know Cal has been on the show before. Our friend Echo was on the show. I will talk to anybody who talks to me.
Oh, that's great.
Our friend Valerie here is here. She'll be talking to us soon. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Before I let Rocky go, before I let you guys go, I got some quick announcements here. Right after this show here, over on Hobbs Horror, the Midnight Hour, they will be interviewing. They're doing an interview. They're going to be interviewing actor Galen Howard at 10 o'clock. Galen Howard will be the guest on the Midnight Hour at 10 o'clock tonight. As for us, we will be talking to Hollywood historian Shannon Vieira. Will be here with us Saturday at 3 p.m. Shannon's family has been in Hollywood from the very beginning, and has yes, her great aunt, she said, I think is Ruby Keeler, who was
Oh,
one of the great early stars in Hollywood.
she really was.
Yeah, she will be here at 3 p.m. Um, next Tuesday, the 21st, we have actor producer Min Collins will be here with us. He'll be talking about his new movie, Fables in Witching, which is a new anthology series that he's putting together and releasing. He'll be here to talk about that. He's also done a movie called Clown Fear, which I know about. On the 22nd of February, we have actress Ashley Undercuffler will be here with us at 8 p.m. She is also does some producing on the side. So we will be talking to Ashley on the 23rd. That show with Jay Crimson got moved back. So I don't know if we're gonna be up and running on the 23rd or not. But if not, come back on the 25th because we have John Henderson, Doomsday Crypt. He'll be here with Brett Wagner, the Lost Leatherface, and Beatrice Boppel, who played Amanda Kruger in the Nightmare on Elm Street series. She's a really sweet lady, super, super sweet. And they will be with us on the 25th at 7 p.m. And then we close out the month with our cosplayer extraordinaire, and I do mean that. And she's amazing. Her name is Vale, and she will be here on the 28th. And let me tell you, I've seen a lot of cosplayers. Not very many on this level. Not very many. Extraordinarily talented. And Vale will be with us on the 28th. All right, boys and girls, that's it for us. Rocky, stay right where you're at. Everybody else, thank you so much for coming out and hanging out with us. I appreciate it so much. And we will see you Saturday for Shannon Vieira at 3 p.m.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for coming
everybody.
out and for the support, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.